if you're truly concerned about January 6th, if you are truly concerned about the precedent that it's set and the danger going forward, wouldn't you, instead of retrospectively looking back at what took place, wouldn't you be trying to guarantee that something like that never happened again?
Interestingly enough, Bolton, Clay, did you see this? Bolton from the Trump administration, he's been in D.C. a long time, John Bolton. I think I did Red Eye with him once at Fox, believe it or not, with the
back
big
in the day.
mustache and the way back in the day, yeah. Do we have him talking about the coup plotting? Yes, we do. This is what he said to CNN's Jake Tapper. This is a pretty amazing moment. Play it.
One doesn't have to be brilliant to attempt a coup.
I disagree with that. As somebody who has helped plan coup d'etat, not here, but other places, it takes a lot of work, and that's not what he did. It was just stumbling around from one idea to another. Ultimately, he did unleash the rioters at the Capitol. As to that, there's no doubt. But not to overthrow the Constitution, to buy more time to throw the matter back to the states to try and redo the issue. And if you don't believe that, you're going to overreact. And I think that's a real risk for the committee, which has done a lot of good work, mostly when the witnesses testify, not when the members are opining. It is invariably the case that when you go too far trying to prove your case, you undermine it.
Okay, so here's what I find so interesting about this, Clay. A couple of different parts of this. And remember, Bolton was brought into the Trump White House.
Did Tapper follow up when someone says, hey, I've planned a bunch of coups in my day? I can't imagine there's very many Americans who could say that. So, I mean, that's a kind of a record drop moment, right?
Let me tell you, Captain Walrus mustache there is being a little grandiose, or he's not the guy who planned a coup. Occasionally, I mean, if you want to talk about a coup, Libya. I mean, look what happened in Libya. We got rid of Gaddafi. That's a coup, folks. We gave air cover. We helped the that was leading from behind. But we've toppled government. Of course, America's toppled governments. We do this on a regular basis. I just thought it's funny though that he hates Trump. Okay, he is an anti-Trumper. Wrote a book trashing Trump, the whole thing. One of these people who goes to work for the Trump administration. Oh, I didn't know what Trump would be like, and wants a senior role. And then the moment that Trump doesn't like them anymore, he turns on them. Which I think that's in and of itself pretty gross. If you work I don't trash people that I have professional relationships with unless they have publicly wronged me in some way or done something, right? I mean, you don't leave somebody that you've worked with and like, oh, I hate that person. But it was interesting because even he says, folks, and this goes to the January 6th situation. He's like, guys, this wasn't a coup. He's like, I know coups when I see it. And this is what I have been saying for 18 months now, Clay. This is what we talk about day in and day out. It was a riot. It was not a coup. This word insurrection is just silly. I mean, it's ridiculous. It was mostly, not entirely, middle-aged folks who were really upset about the election who trespassed on the Capitol grounds and took a bunch of selfies, including a guy with like a fur hat and a spear. I mean, there were clearly some folks who were a little off who were there, and there were some people who attacked police and did some things. But even Bolton, who hates Trump, will admit this is not a coup, folks. I know a coup when I see one. And CNN still sits around. They're it's gonna be Capitol insurrection for the weeks ahead.
Well, I don't even know, Buck, when they're going to end all of this January 6th hearings. I mean, when Liz Cheney loses her primary, what happens then? I think it's like August 16th or something in that neighborhood where the primary in Wyoming will occur, that it appears she's going to get totally and utterly destroyed. So she's no longer going to be a congresswoman once we get to August, really. I mean, she loses the Republican primary. I know the election is in November, but what exactly is going to occur once they lose the House, which there's a virtual certainty that Democrats are going to lose the House. The Senate is more of a toss-up. As you look going forward, Buck, I really, it's difficult for me to contemplate what the goal is even now, because the goal has been, hey, we're going to attack Donald Trump as much as we can. It's clearly not registering politically to help Joe Biden in any way. And so it's a distraction in 9.1% inflation times. Do you have a sense for, do they think, this January 6th hearing is really working for us? What would Democrats say if you gave them truth serum and they weren't just trying to spin in public? Even CNN and MSNBC ratings are awful.
I think it's almost a delay tactic, Clay, where they know there's no good stories to tell about the administration. So this is the safe space that they can emotionally run to. The Democrat Party faithful, the base, the left. They can just watch night after night insurrection coverage, because otherwise CNN would have to say, so the inflation rate's really bad and the crime rate is still really high and the border is all the things we talk about. The border's wide open. It's a total mess. They don't want to discuss those things. They don't want to talk about the price of gas. So this is something else for them. But on the insurrection issue, and this was really interesting, AOC here was speaking to a journalist, I guess. I don't know. Somebody came up and asked some questions on the Capitol steps. And she said something that I know what she was trying to convey here. And she's a hysteric and not very bright. And it's really sad and quite pathetic that the younger Democrats particularly look to her as someone that they should listen to about honestly anything. But here she is saying that there's some stuff we haven't found out yet with all this investigation, Clay.
These insurrectionists.
Like Antifa?
And that there were actual officers working with this, and we never got to the bottom of that, and we never got any answers about that. And then to this day, we're just supposed to pretend that never happened.
What about Antifa?
I have no idea what happened to the people on the inside who were very clearly sympathetic with what was going on and opening the doors wide open for that. And I'm supposed to sit here and pretend like none of that ever happened. And then right afterwards, you have a massive, you just have this idea that throwing money at that problem is going to make it go away without any accountability. And so this is where these things are breaking down. We're not safe. And it's not just about members of Congress not being safe. The food staff workers aren't safe. The janitors aren't safe. We need to get to the bottom of this.
Okay, first of all, the janitors aren't safe. Put aside, as I said, the hysteria for a second. Is she accusing Capitol Police at some level of an inside job? That's what it sounds like. Sympathetic, open the doors, told them to come in, told them to go into certain areas. This is AOC saying that, right? If you or I say Capitol Hill Police let people in, we're conspiracy theorists. That's not true. It was an insurrection. What is she saying, Clay?
Well, she's pointing out what is true, which is there was almost no security at all at the Capitol on that day. Now, partly that's because the idea of calling out the troops was considered to be racist when Senator Tom Cotton in Arkansas suggested it as a way to provide protection during the summer of riots. But there is, on video, some Capitol Police just opening up the doors and removing the barricades and letting people go in to the Capitol. That has been a defense that has been offered on behalf of some of the January 6th defendants. So she is speaking to truth, a truth that Democrats don't want to consider at all, which is many of these people did not violently trespass into the Capitol. They were effectively waved in.
If they were holding hearings to get to the bottom of the insurrection instead of the obvious political show trials they're having, why don't we? I'm sure we could find out very easily. Who were the members of Capitol Hill Police who, on video, as you point out, were effectively escorting people into certain areas of the Capitol after it had supposedly been blocked off to civilians? Well, what did they do? Why did they do that? Did they tell people it was okay? Did they wave people inside the actual building and say, all right, they're going to go in there? Where is all that testimony? Where is the discussion? AOC is bringing it up. I feel like we should be able to bring it up too.
I think it's a very valid point that she is raising. And if you're truly concerned about January 6th, if you are truly concerned about the precedent that it's set and the danger going forward, wouldn't you, instead of retrospectively looking back at what took place, wouldn't you be trying to guarantee that something like that never happened again, which would be a part of an investigation to look forward, not just backward?
Has there been a single major takeaway from all of the Democrat histrionics on Capitol Hill of this next time our security will be much better because this won't happen again from a security perspective. No, it's all Donald Trump is Hitler. That's basically what it all comes down to.